Hey guys, it's Eli of Eli's Naturals. Last week, we were talking about how to choose an herb. And I started off by explaining to you how we use an herb's attraction to certain organ systems or tissue states to decide what herb we want. Well, today I want to take that to the next step. Once we kind of know what organ system we're looking at, one of the next things we look at is taste. And believe it or not, taste is actually one of the oldest ways of choosing an herb. I mean, we're talking back before labs and microscopes. The only thing we had to rely on was our senses. And so, that was kind of what herbalists did. We tasted an herb, we felt what that herb was doing, and we based that feeling and connected it to that taste. And I know you're thinking, what do you mean felt? Well, think about when you drink a hot cup of coffee and the feeling you have going down your throat. Or think about biting into a nice, cool, juicy piece of watermelon. You can almost feel that cooling sensation. Well, herbalists took that kind of knowledge and they said, okay, this herb gives me, and this taste gives me this reaction. And of course, basically the tastes are based on the 5 tastes that we pick up on our taste buds. I mean, that's truly what it is because we don't have any other options. So they've understood this taste, and they understood that this taste causes this reaction and does this to the body. And we still use that knowledge today. We still look at taste and say, I want something that is salty. I want something that is sweet. I want something that is sour. I want something that is spicy because I want that reaction in the body. So let's go over the 5 tastes. And I'm going to tell you basically what we look for and why we think we want that taste. So the first one is bitter. And it's probably the most common. I mean, it's almost becoming a buzzword right now. And that's because bitters play a huge role in digestion. There's actually 15 different bitter responders in the digestive system. So bitter is a huge taste for us. And it actually activates your digestion. It activates your digestive fluid. It activates all the different things that you need to digest food well. So, of course, we want bitters, we're thinking digestion. We can also be thinking liver function because many people forget that the liver and the pancreas both play a role in digestion. So, affecting that liver affects your digestion. Bitters also clear heat from the body. Think elimination. And so whenever I'm wanting to reduce inflammation, calm heat, a bitter is something I might look at as well. Examples of bitters can include gentian, dandelion root, and artichoke leaves. Those are some of the most common ones. There are a ton of them out there, though. So the second taste is the one everybody loves, and it's one that as a nation, country, society, we've actually switched more to. We've eliminated a lot of bitter out of our foods, and we're going sweet because we like sweet things. I mean, who doesn't? So sweet herbs build and moisturize. They are nourishing. They add moisture. They're building. They're helping the body to rebuild. They're used in cases of depletion. Think somebody who's been sick for a really long time, their bodies are depleted. Sometimes it can be athletic people will use it to help with depletion that they're getting because, maybe they're overtraining or they're doing something, they're running a marathon, something like that. It can also be used for drying. If you have dry, brittle tissue, a sweet moistening herb is exactly what you want. And it helps tonify tissue. And I know that kind of seems a little weird and everybody says, what is tonifying? Tonifying is adding back structure. A lot of times in our tissues and in our organs, we lose structure. We lose the ability to hold things together. And so when we say we're tonifying a body part or an organ, we're helping add structure. We're tightening things up. We're bringing things back together. Sweet herbs are ones like licorice root, astragalus, oat straw, and marshmallow, which is one of my favorites. So the third herb or the third taste we deal with is sour. And I know many people are like, that's a taste, but what herbs are sour? Well, believe it or not, what we consider sour would be hibiscus, schisandra, rose hips. So an herbalist definition of sour is not like Sour Patch candy. It's not that bitter sour taste. A lemon is sour. There can be a bitter, just that little bit of sourness on the back of the tongue type situation. Sour herbs are astringent. Think lemon, tightens everything up, puckers everything up. It's cooling. And it helps the body to retain fluids. Sour herbs also help tone tissue, just like your sweet herbs. They support the liver and they help balance emotions. And I know that's something we don't talk a lot about, but herbs do play a role in your emotions. And a lot of your sour herbs are ones that we look to when you're dealing with stress, when you're dealing with anxiety, when you're dealing with grief, when you're dealing with anger, things like that. And you want to use an herb to balance emotion, because emotions are body functions, guys. They're body reactions, they're brain reactions. We feel them. I mean, anybody have a stress response in their physical body? So yeah, emotions are physical things as well as emotional things. The fourth taste is salty. Salty herbs are considered mineral rich. They are moistening and softening. These herbs are excellent for nourishing tissue and promoting fluid balance. Okay, so think about vitamin rich, mineral rich, herbs that we want to use to give back, herbs that we want to use to promote health. These are your tonic type herbs. These are herbs that are in for the long haul. They help keep the fluids, balanced in your body. They do all these kinds of things that help promote health. They're not necessarily something that's going to, well, they can make you healthy, but they're not going to be something that we're going to look to so much when we're ill or we're trying to fix a problem. They're the building blocks. They're the minerals. They're the vitamins. They're the nourishment that our body needs in order to fix itself. Because, even if you're giving it the right medicine and the right energy, you still got to have those building blocks. And these are where nourishing herbs come in. The most popular nourishing herb is nettle. Nettle is so vitamin and mineral rich. Seaweeds, those are a big buzz right now. Think kelp, think bladderwrack. These are nourishing herbs. Horsetail is another salty, nourishing herb. Oat straw is another nourishing herb. Alfalfa is another nourishing herb. These are all herbs that I think of when I'm looking more for nourishment, when I'm looking more to build the body up, when I'm looking more to this person is in a depletion that needs vitamins and minerals and sustenance. So the last taste is one that the tongue picks up on very easily. We call it spicy out here in the modern world. Herbalists call it pungent. It is that strong, hot, spicy herb. Pungent or spicy herbs are hot. They're stimulating. And they move stagnation. And I know that's another question of stagnation. There's a lot of times that things stop moving in the body. They stop flowing. Lymph can be stagnant. Blood can be stagnant. Sometimes stagnation can be happening if you're not eliminating, you're not detoxifying your body. You can't sweat like you're supposed to. All of those things are stagnation. There can also be stagnation of thoughts. There can be stagnation in the way an organ is functioning. Maybe it's, instead of running at top speed, it's puttering along. And that can be a form of stagnation. So your hot, spicy herbs, your pungent herbs, they add heat and flame. They add fire. They add a little kick. They kind of get the motor running. Some of these are, your chilies, your ginger. Turmeric can be a spicy herb. Hot, spicy. Pretty much you can tell that one right off the bat. So what do I do if I want to use this to choose the right herb? This is where people get in such a hard time. And this is where people think, I can't use this stuff. I need somebody to just tell me what herb to take for what problem. And if that is what you want, I'm here. I've got no problem helping you figure out what herb, what problem, take all the math out of your hands, no sweat. But what about if you want to do it yourself? Well,